education. And all in the name of just acquiring more and more power unto themselves. And that message hasn't changed even though I didn't win the primary. That problem still exists today. If Cory Booker wins, it's going to continue to exist if we don't get the right Republicans into the United States Senate this year. And believe it or not, in New Jersey, we have the opportunity to actually take Cory Booker out. Some places have this as a single-digit race, under 10 points. Jeff Bell is close enough to Cory Booker to be able to take him out. And if we actually do our work and motivate voters, we're going to be able to do that. But why would the guy who worked harder than anybody else to keep Jeff Bell from winning the election be here tonight? Because everything I said when I ran for U.S. Senate is just as true the day after the primary as it was before. We need to put the right conservative, principled Republican in the Senate who's going to stand up, kick butt, take names, and stand up for the principles and not yield to whatever way they want to get pushed. And I had, well, you clapped your head. I'm sorry. I had the benefit to get to know Jeff Bell in a way few people see him. In the back rooms, where there's no press, nobody's asking him questions, I got to know the man. I got to talk to him about what he thinks, how he feels, what really motivated him to come up from Virginia at 70 years old, when most of us are thinking about retiring, to actually come up here and take on this massive challenge. And rather than tell you what all he said, let me tell you how much that moved me. On election night, I sent the press to bed saying I'm going to contest this election. I'd only lost by about 3,000 votes. There were mail-in ballots and provisional ballots. I was not going to yield this election and give a concession. The next morning, I told the Associated Press, I'm going to have a press conference. I'm going to be at the Monmouth County Board of Elections, and I'm going to be talking about the provisional ballot, the mail-in ballot, and the military ballot. Well, 2 o'clock, the press was there. They turned up. TV was there, radio was there, newspapers were there. A lot of people turned up. I wasn't there. About 5 after 2, I walked from the parking lot with Jeff Bell and handed him his first best attended press conference of this election. And we continue to use those same type of guerrilla, grassroots, get out and bang on doors type of campaigning to actually bring this race to within 10 points without the massive millions that Cory Booker is bringing in from Hollywood. And let's be real, do we really want to have Hollywood's senator occupying a chair that belongs to us, the people of New Jersey? No. You're right, absolutely not. That is our seat. And this year, for the first time in a long time, we the people actually have the opportunity to take that seat, take it back from the Democrats, take it back for the people of New Jersey, and put a responsible, committed, compassionate, conservative, and upstanding man who will work hard for the people of the state and to make this country better. We have a chance to do that. Are you into that fight or not? Yes. Good, because that's what we need. Jeff needs to have people who are going to be working in local races and getting out the vote. That's what it's going to take. This is a wave here. People are already frustrated with the government. They're so frustrated they're not going to come out and vote. Yeah. But if you talk them into coming out and voting, that'll be what we do. Because this year, the enemy is not Cory Booker. The enemy this year is voter apathy. That's what we have to fight against. That's what we can do. And let me tell you a little bit about Jeff. Jeff's an Ivy League graduate and a Vietnam veteran. At 30 years old, he looked around and said, you know, Clifford Case is not conservative enough. He really isn't representing what the families are looking for in New Jersey. And he took him on a primary in the state of New Jersey and won. Because that was the message we had to hear. He has been a conservative icon since the 70s. He worked with Ronald Reagan when Reagan was first drafting his conservative economic principles. Ultimately, he was brought along with Reagan, served as an aide, and was responsible for working with the legislative team to write the legislation that we all know as the Reagan tax cuts. Talk about a guy who can reach across the aisles. Here's a guy who was working with Bill Bradley, the guy he lost to, in the Senate, bringing about what we call the Reagan Revolution. That's the type of skill we need. As a guy who works in economic policy, that's what he's been doing for 30 years. He's been working with various conservative organizations that he founded and grew to influence legislation and take conservative Republican principles and turn them into effective legislation. That's why he came back to New Jersey. This fight, the fight for the economy, nobody was talking about. Jeff was terribly troubled that there are tons of distractions coming out of Washington, and nobody's talking about the fact that you can't get more than 1% in the savings bank. And some of us have longer-term memories. I remember 2008 when I had a 401k. And I remember 2009 when I didn't. And that was pretty sad. And that's what they want to put us back into. That type of investing environment. We would like some security in our savings. And how about we trust our local bankers to invest in local businesses, local farms, local opportunities, local homeowners, with money that we put in their banks that earns an attractive rate. The Federal Reserve is at war with that very concept that built this country and made it great. Jeff Bell understands that. And he wants to be in the Senate having that discussion. If New Jersey puts him there and says the fundamental issue in the United States today is the ability of the people to keep their life savings, their life work, and have it maintain their value, and not let the government and the Federal Reserve continue to strip their value, because that's what runs this country, is our savings. And if we can't build up our savings in the bank, our trust in the bank, really we're just all playing at the casino that's called Wall Street. And sooner or later, it's going to come crashing down again. That's why we want Jeff to go into Washington to have that debate. Because otherwise, all the other issues are going to end up getting in the way. And there's plenty of stuff we need to be talking about as well. But if we can't keep our money, if we can't take care of our children and our grandchildren, and they can't get their homes and build their business and their jobs, we're on the path to ruin. And Jeff understands that. At 70 years old, he came to New Jersey to fight that battle for us. And that's why, when I lost my election, rather than just conceding and getting on with my life and going back to my job, I threw in my hat and I said, Jeff, I'm working for you. And I've spent the last few months going north, south, east, and west, trying to help this man who doesn't know a lot of people in this state earn the trust and the respect, the compassion, and the labor that it's going to take our seat back. And that's why I threw in with him. And that's why I'm asking you to throw in with him. Because we have a chance to do this. He doesn't have a lot of money. Cory Booker's got all the money. He's not getting any money from Wall Street because they don't like what he has to say. He's making the point that Wall Street is a fixed game. The Federal Reserve is in for taking care of the Federal Reserve. He would like to make sure that the American people control the American currency. He'd like to make sure that we take control of our own destiny, and if we are the land of the free, we get to live like it's the land of the free. And that's what he talks about every time I get to hear him speak. And I wanted to come here tonight and share that with you because we have the opportunity this year in New Jersey to do something spectacular. We can send somebody from New Jersey who understands what it takes to fix the economy, who's demonstrated leadership inside the Senate, who knows how to do it already. He's like Bill Gates in legislation in that he knows every step of the process. There's nobody involved in the process that he can't contribute substantially to. That's what makes him so remarkable. So think about it. This year, why don't we do that? Let's take the most capable, the most qualified, the go-to guy when the government decides it's time to fix the economy that any state at any time could ever send to Washington, D.C. Let's send him from New Jersey and get this country fixed. Can you help me with that? Now, the way to do that is not to go door to door and say, look, I got to tell you about Jeff Bell. That'll certainly help. You just need to get your local friends and neighbors and business people talking about getting out and taking their town back, taking their county back, taking their congressional district back. That's what we need to do. That's why, when you see these signs around for Venice, let's get out and work for them. That's what we should be doing, is getting our local races going. Simple thing to do. If you think about it for a second, between Bell and Pezzullo, we got 80,000 votes. If everybody who voted for me or Jeff brought 10 people to the polls somehow, got a mail-in ballot, just somehow got somebody to the polls, that's 800,000 votes we could produce just from the people that came out from the primary in a race where there's going to be less than 2 million votes cast. That's if we just get 10. Now, what I want you to do, if you want to help out, send Jeff some money, get us on the radio. If you don't have money, everybody has 2 books. Everybody has a checkbook and a contact book. Open one of them. And I want you to personally commit. Make a list at home of 10 people that you're going to be responsible for getting to vote. Could be your neighbor, could be your kid. But I really want you to commit to that and work on them and talk to them every day. Find out if they need an absentee ballot. Get the application for them. Do whatever it takes. Just produce 10 votes. And then as you're talking to them, if they like why you're doing it, see if you can get some of them to produce 10 votes. That's really how it's going to work. It's going to be loaves and fishes, folks, and it's really going to happen right here in New Jersey. I believe it in my heart. I can see it as clear as I can see my hand in front of my face. If we just all commit to that, those 10 people will come to you. They'll be able to get their 10. We're going to pull this off. I can't thank you enough for giving me the opportunity to come back and say thank you, and to say, please, we have a chance to put Jeff Bell in office. Let's do it. Thank you very much.